A small plate slides across the table, forks pause, and someone bows their head before supper begins. The room is still enough to hear the clock ticking on the wall. We're stepping back into Christian family life in the 1950s to explore 13 everyday habits that kept families slimmer without trying, and what replaced them. No diets, no calorie talk, just routines so normal they were invisible at the time. If you've ever wondered how bodies stayed lighter before modern fitness culture, the answer isn't one secret, it's a whole way of living. And one habit in particular might surprise you when you hear why it existed. Number 13. The kitchen closed between meals. This is the habit that quietly controlled how often you even thought about food. In this house, you do not drift through the kitchen all day like it is a waiting room. You walk in with a reason. Breakfast is a real moment, not a handful of crumbs swallowed over the sink. Lunch has its own place in the middle of the day. Supper is treated like something you show respect to. You can hear the pantry door shut with a soft, final click. The bread box lid settles down. The countertop is wiped clean like the scene is finished, and the stage lights have gone out. That little pantry door click becomes its own kind of boundary. And you learn early that later means later, not because anyone is harsh, because the day has order and you are carried by it. When you are hungry between meals, you drink water, you step outside, you find something to do with your hands. Your body does not get constant little reminders to eat again. Hunger arrives like a message instead of background noise. And when the meal finally comes, it actually feels like a meal, not just another snack. It did not vanish because families stopped caring. Life got faster. Food got easier to reach from every corner of the day. The pantry click turned into a refrigerator that is always open, always full, and always waiting. Number 12. Plates that did not beg for more. This habit changed portions without anyone saying the word portion. The plate in front of you looks smaller than the ones people set out today. Not tiny, not stingy, just honest. The sort of plate that holds enough without daring you to stack it higher just because there is space. It is heavy ceramic, maybe with a faded little pattern around the edge. It clinks softly against the fork. When food lands on it, it does not spread into a mountain. A spoonful of potatoes, a piece of meat, something green. The plate is not asking for a performance. It is asking for gratitude. Back then, you did not need a textbook on portion control. The physical world helped do it for you. You could still go back for more if you were truly hungry, but the first round did not start with excess. When you finished, you were not left chasing the next bite like you had been cheated. You were simply done. Slowly, without anyone announcing it, the plate grew. Restaurants trained the eyes. Packages got bigger. Normal drifted upward until the old plate started looking like a side dish. And when normal grows, appetites quietly grow with it. Number 11. Water, milk, and one special drink. This habit kept sweetness from turning into a constant companion. The glasses on the table are not enormous. They are the kind that feel solid in a child's hand, thick enough to survive being dropped in a sink. Most days, what is inside them is plain. Water is water. Milk is milk. Coffee belongs to the adults, dark and steady, poured into cups that have lived a long life. Sweet drinks exist, but they arrive like guests, not like roommates. Maybe there is lemonade when it is hot. Maybe there is punch in a glass bowl at church, floating with rings of melting ice. Maybe a single bottle of soda shows up on a special day, and you remember it for years because it is rare enough to leave a mark. You learn that sweetness is tied to a moment, a celebration, a Sunday afternoon, a birthday, a church picnic where paper cups stack up and somebody laughs too loud. It mattered because so many calories never had the chance to slip in quietly through a straw. The body stayed lighter without anyone trying to be impressive. The day was not built on sipping sugar from morning to night. Later, cups got bigger. Refills became normal. Sweetness moved in and never left. and the line between treat and daily default quietly disappeared. Be honest, was your special drink lemonade, punch, or a glass bottle that felt like a reward? Number 10, Sunday was the feast day. This habit made one day feel big so the others could stay small. Sunday has a different weight. You can feel it from the morning, in the way clothes are chosen and hair is combed and shoes are wiped clean. Church happens, and the day seems to walk a little slower afterward, like it is taking its time to breathe. Then you come home, and the meal is bigger, not chaotic bigger, reverent bigger. The roast is carved, the vegetables are buttered, the bread is set out like it has earned its place. Before anybody eats, there is a pause, a prayer that makes the room feel protected. This is the feast, and because the rest of the week is simpler, this one meal does not tip the whole world off balance. It feels like abundance without turning into excess. It feels like joy without turning into habit. The body understands that this is special, not standard. Later, weekends filled up with errands and sports and constant motion. Sunday dinners got smaller or disappeared, replaced by something grabbed between events. When the feast disappears, the week can start to feel like one long blur where every day is busy, but nothing feels special. Number 9, walking was the default. This next habit was movement disguised as normal life. Nobody in that world says, I should move more. People just move because the day quietly demands it. Movement is not a hobby you schedule. It is how you get from one part of life to the next. You walk to school with your lunch pail bumping against your leg, the metal warming slowly in the sun as you swing it like a small pendulum. You walk to a neighbor's house because that is where your friend lives, and you do not need a ride just to cross a few streets. You walk to the mailbox at the end of the driveway like it is a tiny daily mission, and when you open it, you smell paper and ink and a faint trace of outside air trapped inside the envelope. Even small errands turn into movement. Someone sends you to the corner store for bread or milk, and you go because you are able, because you have legs, because you are part of the household rhythm. You pass lawns being watered, the air cool and misty near the sidewalk. You wave at someone sweeping their porch. You walk past a house where the radio is playing loud enough to leak into the street. Nobody calls it exercise. It is just being alive in a neighborhood that still expects feet to do some of the work, and church life quietly adds even more steps than you realize. The building is not just a sanctuary. It is hallways and classrooms and side doors and back rooms with stacked hymnals. You walk down long corridors that smell like old carpet and paper and furniture polish. You slip into a Sunday school room and the chalk dust hangs faintly in the air. You go from pew to hallway to fellowship hall. And the whole time, your body is doing what bodies do when they are needed. Standing, moving, shifting, carrying. Sometimes you are walking in clothes that were never meant for it. Sunday shoes, stiff and shiny. The kind you try to keep clean, still end up doing work. They click on the sidewalk. They scuff on the church steps. They scrape lightly against a pew leg when you slide into your seat. Even the nice shoes gather miles like quiet proof you have been living. It is not dramatic movement. It is steady movement. The kind that does not leave you exhausted, but keeps you awake inside your own body. Your legs stay familiar with effort. Your lungs stay familiar with air. You sweat sometimes without calling it a workout. You climb stairs without thinking about it. You carry things and balance things and stand longer than you sit. And all of that adds up in the background like a song you do not notice until it stops playing. Then one day, almost without warning, the world rearranges itself. Cars become the default for everything. Neighborhoods stretch out, stores move farther away, sidewalks disappear in places where they used to connect everything. The same tasks that once took a walk become something you do without leaving the driver's seat. You can move through an entire day without your feet really touching the world. It gets easier, and in many ways it gets safer and faster, but the body gets quieter. The day stops asking you to wake up physically, and you do not even notice what you lost until you remember how normal it used to be to simply go. If this brought someone to mind, a parent, a grandparent, or just a version of life that moved at a human pace, you're part of a quiet group that still notices these things. Marking that moment here by subscribing and liking helps more people find their way back to it too. Number 8, work that made a body strong. This habit was basically a workout nobody named. In a 1950s home, the work has weight, not glamorous weight, real weight. The kind of work that leaves your hands dry and your shoulders pleasantly tired. The kind that makes you sleep deeply without trying. Laundry is not something you tap on a screen and forget. It is baskets carried with both arms. It is sheets shaken out with a snap that fills the air. It is clothes pinned up to dry, arms lifted again and again until the motion becomes its own rhythm. You can picture the apron tied around someone's waist, the knot pulled tight like they are preparing for a long day. The fabric is worn thin in the same spots from years of use. You can hear the scrape of a chair being moved so the floor can be swept. You can hear the broom dragging across the kitchen like a steady hush. You can feel the small ache in your shoulders after carrying groceries in one trip, because that is simply what you do. Some of the work lives outside too, taking out the trash, hauling water, mowing a yard that actually needs mowing, raking leaves until your arms feel longer than they were that morning, scrubbing steps, wiping windows, bending to pick things up and standing again and again, like your body is quietly practicing strength without ever calling it training. Even if the family is comfortable, even if the house is tidy and good, the day still asks for effort. That effort burns energy in the background. It is not about self-improvement. It is about care, about making a home feel livable, about creating order in the middle of life. Then the machines improve, and thank God for that many burdens lifted, especially for women who were carrying more than anyone saw. But the body also lost some of its built-in motion, the kind that used to arrive without asking. What chore did you hate as a kid, but respect now? Washing dishes, hanging laundry, or scrubbing floors? Number 7, supper was built, not bought. This habit turned one moment into an anchor for the whole day. In the evening, the kitchen turns into a little world of its own. The stove is warm. The air smells like onions softening, like bread warming, like something steady coming together. You can almost hear the day settling down as pots and pans take center stage. Someone is moving through the room like they have done this 1,000 times because they have. It is not rushed, but it is purposeful. A lid lifts, steam escapes, a spoon scrapes the bottom of a pot, and the whole house starts leaning toward the table. Picture the kitchen at 6 in the evening. One overhead light is on, casting a circle of yellow over the stove. The radio hums softly from the corner, a hymn or a bit of news blending into the sound of simmering. A pot bubbles like it is breathing. Bread waits under a towel. Outside, the sky is dimming. But in here, the warmth holds, and the whole room feels like it was designed for one task: keeping people okay. You notice the small details. The dish towel thrown over one shoulder like a habit. The wooden spoon with a worn handle, stained slightly from years of stirring. The cast iron pan dark and seasoned, living on the stove like it belongs there. The way someone tastes the food with a small frown of concentration, then nods like they just corrected the entire universe with a pinch of salt. And in a lot of Christian homes, there is something unspoken happening here too. Not a big speech, not a dramatic moment, just the steady belief that feeding people matters. That the table is not only where you eat, it is where you settle, where you come back together after a day that pulled everyone in different directions. The meal is made from simple things. Meat, if there is meat, potatoes or beans or rice, because those foods stretch and satisfy. Something green, because someone insists you need it. Bread, because bread makes a meal feel complete. The flavors are not loud, They do not have to be. Comfort is not always about excitement. Sometimes comfort is about knowing what comes next. And there is a rhythm to it. Someone sets the table without being asked. Plates appear. Water glasses line up. A butter dish lands in the center like it is part of the furniture. When the food is ready, it does not feel like an accessory to the evening. It feels like the evening itself. Because supper is built instead of bought, it fills you in a deeper way. You are not chasing flavor fireworks. You are being grounded. The food tastes like effort. It tastes like care. And there is a fullness that lasts, the kind that does not beg you to rummage for something else an hour later. You sit down, you eat, you talk, you finish, and your body understands that the day has been fed. That pantry door click from earlier makes sense now because this meal was always meant to be the main event. Then life gets crowded, schedules tighten. Food arrives in boxes with shiny pictures and promises you can read in 10 seconds. Dinner becomes something you assemble quickly, sometimes while standing, sometimes while rushing toward the next obligation. And when meals stop being anchors, the day starts to drift. You eat a little here, a little there, and somehow you are never fully satisfied even though you have had plenty. It is not because modern life is worse. It is because modern life is faster, and speed changes everything, even your appetite. Number 6. Dessert had a doorbell. This habit kept treats special instead of constant. Dessert exists in the 1950s, and it is good. Cakes appear at potlucks like small miracles. Pies cool on windowsills. Cookies show up on plates covered with a towel, still warm underneath. But dessert usually has a reason. It is connected to guests, to Sundays, to celebrations, to someone coming over after church when the living room is still clean and the good dishes are out. When dessert shows up, it announces itself. Sometimes it is so special that you can hear it coming. The doorbell rings. Somebody laughs in the hallway. A covered dish arrives in someone's hands, foil crinkling softly as they step inside. When the dessert appears, it feels like a gift, not a reflex. Later, dessert became available all the time, not in a dish you have to cool and slice, but in packages you can open with one hand. The moment stopped being a moment. It just became more eating. Number 5. Shopping had a list and a limit. This habit kept impulse from running the pantry. Grocery shopping in the 1950s is not a pastime. It is a mission. There is a list written by hand. There is a budget folded into a wallet. Like a quiet prayer, you know what you are going to buy before you walk through the door. You push the cart and it does not glide like modern carts. It pulls, it squeaks, it makes you work a little. You see what you came for: flour, eggs, meat if it is in the plan, vegetables, bread, simple things that become meals when someone is patient enough to turn them into food. Later, stores multiplied, quick stops became normal, snacks got louder, packaging got brighter. The home turned into a place where something extra is always within reach, even when nobody is actually hungry. Number 4. Leftovers meant stewardship. This habit turned too much into enough for later. Leftovers are not sad in this house. They are planned. They are respected. Somebody folds foil neatly over a dish like they are wrapping up something valuable. You hear the crinkle of foil. You see the dish being set into the refrigerator with care. The refrigerator hums steadily, holding a few simple containers. You smell cold roast or yesterday's casserole when you open the door. You might see a handwritten note taped to a dish, reminding everyone what belongs to tomorrow. It matters because leftovers keep the week steady. They turn one meal into two, not as a trick, but as wisdom. When food is already waiting, you are less likely to wander for something extra, less likely to add another whole meal to the day that does not need it. Which leftover did you secretly love more than the original roast, casserole, or cold fried chicken? Number 3. Eating together taught you to slow down. This habit trained your body to recognize enough. When the family eats, they eat in the same room. They sit down. They pass dishes. They talk about the day in plain language. Sometimes they are tired. Sometimes they are cheerful. Sometimes it is quiet enough to hear the clock ticking, but the table holds them in one place. You can hear forks against plates, not rushed, not frantic. You can see someone reaching for the butter, the motion unhurried, like time is not chasing them. Even when the meal is plain, it feels full because it has attention on it. Then, meals became scattered. One person early, another late, another in the car, another in front of the television. Eating turned into something you did while distracted, and distracted eating makes it easier to drift past enough without noticing. Number 2, quiet rules that felt like love. This is the rule I teased at the beginning. The one that sounds strict now but held the rhythm together. You reach for a slice of bread between meals and someone says, "Calm as sunrise." No, you will spoil your supper. Not sharp, not cruel, just certain. The day has a shape and they are guarding it like you guard something fragile and good. It is one of those rules that sounds almost unbelievable now because it is so simple. No lecture, no chart, no argument, just a boundary. The bread box stays closed. The pantry door stays shut with that same soft click you heard earlier. And the message underneath it is not punishment. It is steadiness. In that house, food is not a constant negotiation. It is not entertainment. It is not a prize you can win every time you feel bored or restless. Meals have a place. Hunger has a place. Waiting has a place. And even as a child, you learn that your body can handle a little space between what you want and what you get. The strange thing is how safe it can feel, because once you know supper is coming, you stop hunting for little snacks. Like, you are afraid the world might forget to feed you. You can go play, you can go help, you can go finish your homework. You can go sit on the porch step and listen to the evening insects start up like a quiet choir. The meal will come, and when it does, it will taste the way it is meant to taste, with your whole appetite waiting for it. And that rule did more than keep people from snacking. It made the table feel important. It made supper feel like an arrival. It gave the day a backbone. The body stayed anchored to real meals. Portions did not creep upward without anyone noticing. The kitchen did not become an open buffet that never closed. It also connected to something deeper in many Christian homes. Discipline as a form of love, not strictness for the sake of strictness, not control, more like stewardship, the belief that you do not need to grab everything the moment you want it, that you can wait, that you can trust the rhythm. That enough is not a tragedy. Later, just a little something turned into 100 little somethings scattered through the hours. A bite while cooking, a snack while driving, a treat while scrolling. Food became easy to reach in every emotional moment. Tired, stressed, bored, celebrating. Parenting shifted. Schedules shifted. Convenience took over. And the line between hunger and habit got blurry. And maybe the saddest part is not that people snack now. It is that so many people snack because they are running on fumes. They are trying to patch a frantic day with something small and sweet because nothing else is slowing down. But when you remember that old rule, you understand what it was really doing. It was not just protecting supper, it was protecting a pace. It was guarding the space where family life could breathe. And that pantry door click, it was not a lock. It was a reminder. The meal is coming. You are going to be taken care of. Number 1, when the world got faster. This is not one choice. It is the way all the other choices tilted over time. The last thing you feel in that 1950s world is the pace. It is not perfect. It is not easy for everyone. Some families stretch meals because money is tight. Some days are heavy with work and worry, but the pace is different. Meals happen in a calmer order. Movement is built into ordinary life. Church gathers people into routines that keep them steady. Treats have meaning instead of constant availability. The body often stays lighter simply because the environment is not pushing it toward excess. Then the modern world arrives, and it brings gifts, comfort, convenience, speed, options. But it also brings endless access, bigger portions, More sitting, more noise, more quiet stress carried in the background. The change is not a moral failure. It is a world reshaped. And once you notice the old pace, you start to wonder which small rhythms might still be waiting to come back. What rule did you hear most growing up? Wait until supper, or you will spoil your appetite. Back at that table, the coffee still hisses softly, and the prayer still hangs in the air like warmth. Maybe the secret was never the gym. Maybe it was the way home and church once slowed life down, enough for everyday life to hold. If this kind of time travel feels like home, give the video a like and stay subscribed so you don't miss what comes next. Next up, we're stepping into 30 old home features your Christian grandparents had, the quiet details we didn't realize we'd miss until they were gone.